this is Jpar, and this is the We Promise Nothing crew. Tonight, we are going to interview Mike and Brad from Northern Game Expo. It's an event we're having here in Sudbury, Ontario at the Crusoe Club. It's going to be a great event, and we're going to talk to them a little bit about it. Tonight on the show, they will be helping me interview these two fine gentlemen. It is Zube Da Boo. Say hello to the audience.
Hey guys, Da Boo here.
All right, and Mike and Brad, say hello to the We Promise Nothing audience.
Hello. Hey, how's it going?
All right, so we're going to ask them a few questions about the Northern Game Expo. And you're probably asking yourself, what is this Game Expo you keep talking about, Jpar? Well, we're going to find out because they're going to answer your questions right here, Mike and Brad. So, first of all, introduce yourselves. How'd you guys meet? Oh, how did this become a thing?
Go ahead.
Basically, last year we went to a show down in Barrie. It was a video game swap. Three of us went. Trevor, myself, and Brad, and our other buddy Glenn. But last year we started off with the three of us doing an expo. We decided coming back from the show in Barrie that we wanted to bring something like this to Sudbury.
Yeah, definitely.
So Sudbury didn't have anything like it. They had Graphicon, but it wasn't. There's no video games at Graphicon. There might have been one vendor selling video games. So it was the Talk Shop. So we said, why don't we bring something like this to Sudbury? And we began planning a couple days after. It was pretty well. Yeah, it was pretty well Brad that started it. Like, he came up with the idea and he said, let's do this, and I jumped on board, and so did Trevor.
He was the money.
Yeah, we needed budget money, so like I supplied the budget money for the first. Well, I got it all back after, but we needed money to rent the hall and stuff like that. So we rented the hall, going around asking everyone for sponsors until we got shut down, and we ended up getting a couple sponsors with Q92, and
that's awesome.
Before we knew it, we were just rolling away.
Great. And that's at the Crusoe Club, and what's the date? It's October
16th from 12 to 6, and there's a special VIP/advanced ticket holders get in at 11:30.
Wow, that's great. Okay, so this is a family-friendly event, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was very popular last year, so we figured let's capitalize on it a bit more this year. Last year we wanted to start out, like, it was just originally supposed to be a swap, like just video games, but unfortunately Sudbury doesn't have the luxury of getting thousands of tables of video games, so we switched over to doing more with comics and artists, and cosplay was kind of a last minute thing. We did have a couple people. One guy showed up as Deadpool, and another kid came dressed as the character, I don't even know what his name is, from Minecraft. The Minecraft.
Oh yeah, it's Steve. It was just like a box head costume.
Yeah. So, but this year we've pushed it a lot more. One of our vendors, he's also one of our featured artists. His name's Mark Gagne.
Nice.
He's going to be doing like a photo booth cosplay thing where you can go in and have your pictures taken, and he won't be printing on site because he doesn't have a printer to do that yet. But I guess you could say it's kind of like Wonderland. After you've screamed your lungs out and you go see the pictures and say, yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, and he does the zombie portraits, right?
No, that's Rob.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So this is Mark Gagne is
He's originally from Sudbury, but he moved to Brighton, and he goes to a lot of shows, and he was one of the first ones to reach out to us from the artist aspect.
Okay.
So we're happy to have him back.
Great. And what kind of vendors are we expecting to see there?
Everything.
Everything. What do you mean by everything?
Well, everything nerd, if you will.
Oh, really?
We've got a majority of our vendors are going to be the video game vendors.
Yeah, mainly retro video games, so like the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega. But there'll also be a couple vendors with the modern stuff. But our primary focus is retro gaming.
Nice.
And then we mixed in like a few artists from around Sudbury. We have Rob Shaketo. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. He's also a featured artist. He does zombie portraits. We also have Kyler Green. Trevor Tenhav, he does sculptures, and Lisa from Retroland. She's not a featured artist, but she just opened up a spot, Comics North. They're turning into a comic store.
Game store.
Yeah, that's
video game.
You guys were telling us about that earlier, and I was actually quite surprised to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
So now there's actually a place where you can go and buy video games.
Retro
games. Last year when we put on the show, there wasn't a place where you can actually, like, someone that wanted a Super Nintendo game, it's hard to find.
Yeah,
you got lucky, find them at yard sales.
I think the last retro store, Don't Include Hog Shop was Game Experts like 10 years ago.
Yeah, and that's been a while.
Yeah, it's true. I remember that.
And you guys are having YouTubers at the event.
Yeah, we've got a couple YouTubers. We're trying to get a couple more, but they can't come. I guess Toronto's a little bit too far.
Okay.
But we're gonna have Ryan Janot. He's the Airzonk World Heavyweight Champ. He's also been in the Guinness Book of Records. He's been added again this year for highest. I think it's either highest score or most coins or something for Sonic 2.
Oh yeah.
When you say heavyweight, is there like a lightweight?
I don't know.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah.
He calls himself the World Heavyweight Champion. So. And then we've got a crew from Barrie. They're called Wreck All the Things. Dave and Steve are going to be there from Talk Nerdy.
Yeah, and we're good buddies with them, of course. They've been on the show already. Everyone knows that from the Independence Day episode and Game of Thrones. And was there any talk of any LARP happening at the events?
We had been asked about it. We were asked about it last year too, but I mean, with only 3 months last year, we didn't really have the time or the space. Again, this year, we don't really have the space because our lower hall is going to be set up for our charity alley, where we've got we're on board with 4 charities this year. So we're going to be
doing
donations to Sick Kids.
Actually, Sick Kids, it's not Northern Game Expo, but it's actually one of our vendors. He's by Retro Arcades, Troy Dittner. He's setting up some of his homemade arcades. So basically what he does is takes old arcade machines and installs thin into them where you can play multiple arcade games from one machine basically. And he's raising money for Sick Kids in memory of his son that passed away earlier this year.
That's a great cause.
Yeah, great cause. So we're excited for that. If you want to play one of these things, just come along, donate anything like a quarter, 50 cents. Doesn't have to be much, but every little bit helps. We also have a penny draw that's happening, and all the money being raised towards the penny draw will be donated to the Canadian Mental Health Association.
Well, that's great too. Great cause.
The Mario 64 tournament that'll be happening. Half the money that's raised to that, raised from the Mario Kart tournament, will be going to the Gamer and Food Bank.
Okay.
And half will be going towards prizes that can be won for the top 3 finishers.
So there's lots to be done and lots of vendors and lots of charities. So, I mean, sounds like a spectacular event, guys.
And the last one is Chantal Gladue. She's doing kids face painting. And Big Brothers, Big Sisters. Anyone that gets their face painted is going to cost a toonie. And all the proceeds go towards Big Brothers, Big Sisters.
That's great. That's awesome, guys. Yeah. What is the cost of the event?
It's $5 for anyone 10 and up. If you're coming with an adult and you're under 10, you're free.
Okay.
So it's not breaking the bank there. So. I mean, if you want to spend a couple $1,000s on video games, the vendors will love you for that. But that's not up to us.
But for $5, you can come in, look around, do some shopping for Christmas. Yeah. You can expect to find stuff for the gamer in your family, the perfect present, the game on his list, or even if it's like a nice t-shirt for the gamer in your family. You can win cool prizes throughout the day. We're going to have door prizes every 30 minutes. And then down in the charity aisle, you can go with $5. You can get a couple of penny draw tickets, win a prize there, get your kid's face painted, play some arcades. It's really
win-win.
That just sounds like fun because there's no place you can really go and play arcade machines anymore.
Not anymore.
And I always just sometimes just sitting on the couch, you miss that kind of feeling like going down the street and bringing a pocket full of quarters or loonies with you and pumping them into an arcade machine that you couldn't play on your console system, right?
Exactly. And that goes back with our whole theme on things. It's like the retro atmosphere, like going back in 1990s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the good old days, right?
Back when you grew up. And the good old days.
You knew about the 90s?
Born in 91.
Sounds like very much an entire family event for sure. Everyone can enjoy it. So is there going to be like food and drink vendors on there too? Or
for the Caruso Club, we'll be doing a spaghetti dinner.
Oh, wow.
So what they're going to do is have a buffet set up. So you go in, and I'm not sure exactly yet, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be around $5.
Okay.
You can go get a plate of spaghetti. And then the lower hall in the charity alley, we're going to be selling water, juice, and pop.
Their restaurant's also going to be open because it's set up for their Sunday goers after church.
Yeah.
All the Italian families, they go and eat. But so if people want to eat there as well, they're more than welcome to. But they're doing I think it's $5 special for the event goers. We just ask that no food be on the upper hall because that's where a lot of the heavy hitter games are going to be. And they don't. The vendors don't. Yeah, the vendors don't want you touching with your sauce
greasy fingers.
So
food and drinks are downstairs or outside.
But I can bring my Doritos, right? I'm fine with my Doritos, so
Your cheesy Doritos. This is not that different from maybe Graphicon that we had this past June in Sudbury, or would you say it is different?
Well, I mean, it all falls under the geek aspect, nerd culture, if you will. Graphicon focused more on the comic and graphic designers. Like this year, they did have Lisa from Comics North and Hidden Level Games, but our focus is more on the retro aspect of it. So I mean, it goes hand in hand. It worked that they do theirs in the summer and then we do ours just before Christmas.
Mm-hmm. So it's safe to say anyone who had a great time at Graphicon will have a great time at your show as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I heard that you guys were talking to us off air that you guys did cross promotion, like you're promoting your event there, and then the guys were there last year, right?
No, they
no.
Well, we went to Graphicon this year, and we talked to Pierre to ask if he wouldn't mind us handing out flyers and stuff. He had no problem with it. And,
I mean, even though it's the same aspect, it's still I wanted to make sure that it was okay. Like I don't want to go around and start handing people flyers out, taking away from their event. And he's like, no, by all means do it. And
yeah.
So there are for him, Pierre and Cliff are our first lifetime VIPs. If you will, anytime they come to our show, they're welcome to just walk in. So
yeah, that's really awesome. Like why be competitors, and not really even competitors. It's just the cross promotion just gets that whole. Feels like it gets the whole market interested in year round for events in Sudbury instead of trying to go south all the time for game cons.
Yeah, definitely. You make a good point, Zube. I find there isn't enough events like this in Sudbury, and to see events like this coming up more and more it's fantastic.
Yeah, especially the retro game. Like this is our target market right here. Like this podcast, and like all the retro movies and everything that's been coming out, like revisited franchises. And yeah, it's just add on, and it's just another niche market that I think you guys are going to be doing awesome this year. I really hope everything goes well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And so, where do you hope to see this going? This whole thing. I mean, this is your second year, or
yeah, this is the second year. We were actually asked by quite a few vendors why we don't do it twice a year, and I mean, apart from the fact that there's a show every month wherever you go, you can go down south and there's Fan Expo. My friend Chris, who runs the Barrie Game Exchange, he does his twice a year. Plus, with Graphicon, I mean, we could do it twice a year, but at the same time, it kind of defeats the purpose. Like, you want people to be hyped up for the event and excited. And if you do something in March or April and it doesn't really do as well as you would hope, then they might say, well, I don't really want to go. It didn't really do anything for me the first time. So we're going to keep it once a year, and we're doing it every weekend. The first weekend after Thanksgiving, I think, is when we're doing it. Students are home from mom and dad's,
so the first
school
Sunday,
money, if you will, buy your books with it, but we really know they're not going to buy books. They're going to come and spend money at the show. So
yeah.
Is there a panel of any kind that's going to be there?
No, we were looking at doing one with Up North Comics. He's really big on helping artists get their name out. Just unfortunately, he's coming to promote what he does, but we weren't able to get any not big names, but any names involved this year. So there's always the possibility of looking at it next year.
And we have a lot more stuff planned already for next year. We're always planning. So
is there anything you can tease right now on the podcast? Give us a little
get the exclusive on We Promise Nothing.
Not right now, but at the show you could expect to see a couple of things that we're planning on doing. We're planning on, last year we had a lot of kids involved that came, so we're planning on doing something to get the kids more interactive with things to do when they go there. But we have a couple things planned.
He's bursting at the seams to say it, but he doesn't want to.
Yeah. It was just too short this year to plan it. I want to do it really good.
Oh.
So
Okay.
It's going to be good. But there's a lot this year that we added on from last year where people that went last year are going to come and they're going to see a whole new value of their $5 entry fee where they're going to be like, wow, this is like way more than I expected. So.
We can't stress enough, bring cash. Last year there were 5 ATMs at Cambrian, and within the first hour they were all empty.
Oh, wow.
So there's only 2.
So, yeah, bring cash for sure.
Only 2 at Crusoe
Be prepared.
Club. Yeah, so there's only going to be 2 at the Crusoe Club. The general manager's going to make sure it's stacked, but...
And if you're looking for like a rare Nintendo game, like you want a game that's a couple $1,000, there's going to be a couple vendors there with heavy hitters. And the banks are closed Sunday, so it might be wise to
plan ahead.
Or
Yeah, definitely.
bring trade bait. Like,
yeah, because we have
vendors are
vendors
always looking for
Stuff to trade.
Yep.
because the vendors that are coming with heavy hitters are from down south, and
They get more of it down there.
They get lots more of it.
So, and going back to earlier what he said about the twice a year thing, a lot of vendors are local, so it takes time to replenish their stock. So if they come twice a year, it's hard to find games in the wintertime up in Sudbury. Right? So,
Yeah.
like a lot of people have to stock up. It takes them a year to get it, and then
It's definitely one of those things that doesn't replenish quickly.
Exactly.
That's for sure.
as quick as it used to.
or as quick as it does down south.
Even yard sales now is becoming so cutthroat. Like, people have their own territories. If you go in there, watch out. It's like that's how big it's gotten with all that aspect. And
Yeah, it's
collecting.
amazing, and like we've all had or most of us have had like a Nintendo or Super Nintendo or these classic systems growing up, and what do? We ended up selling them to get the new latest thing, right? And now
We
we're
were
kind of like
dumb.
we're like sitting here like, wait a minute,
I
I miss my Nintendo, I miss my Super Nintendo.
I had a mighty Final Fight for the Nintendo that I sold for $90, and this was a couple years ago. My friend found it in a shoebox at his place, and he had Snow Brothers. It was all wrapped up in like nice wrapping, so that it was still mint.
Yeah.
And so I sold it to one of my friends, and he actually went on and he's like, "You're an idiot." I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "Because it's like almost $300 now." And I'm like, "I sold it for $90 and it jumped that high."
Wow.
Oh, man.
It's amazing. It's
So-
crazy that it... Oh, wow.
Supply and demand, that's all I can say.
So basically, there's no yard sale prices at this event, right? This is.
Well, I mean, you might find you might find a bargain bin or whatnot, but
And, there's a couple of vendors. Like if you know your stuff, you can find some deals.
Yeah.
I know the show in Barrie. I went to a vendor, and he was selling a mix of video games and comics. And you go through, and like some vendors like are more into the comic aspect, so they might pass up on like games, not know the games as well. Might underprice a couple things. There's definitely deals to be had.
Okay.
And a lot of these vendors just want to get rid of their stuff too. Like we have people coming just selling their collections, right? And they just don't want top dollar. They just want to get rid of it all
they
at
won't,
a fair price.
give it away, but
They won't give it away,
Yeah.
but you can get a deal. And a lot of vendors are doing their own prizes too. So if you spend money at their booth, they might have a little prize draw there. So
Oh, fantastic. So we talked about the cash thing before. Like, is that just for buying tickets at the door, or is that talking about like vendors too? You can't use debit at all.
well, I mean, there might be some vendors
Yeah.
that'll have debit. I know Nova, the anime vendor that we have. When they were at the Pokemon thing at Memorial Park, he had one of those cards, but
there might be 3 vendors that have that, but we really want to stress to bring the cash, because not all, like, it's if the ATMs run out, they're going to be stocked, but we just want people to be prepared that you might have to run to the bank if they don't bring cash. And if you come to the doors, that we could get the line moving quicker if you bring the right change, $5.
yeah, please don't pay for one entry with a $100 bill. That happened to us last year.
Last year we had $200 in fives, and we were out within the first 20 minutes. But we're gonna have two. We're gonna have two entrances this year, so the line's gonna move twice as fast.
Hopefully, if people don't pay with $100 bills.
But last year we only had one entrance, so it was like one line. I don't think the wait was that bad, but
No, we
it's
had
gonna
some
be
people that left and they came back and they were upset that they had to wait in line. But I mean, the way I see it, you go to Fan Expo, even if you buy an advance ticket, you're still waiting in a long line to get in before people that are paying to get into the doors. So I mean, even our VIP entrance, we've got 60 advance tickets that were sold, and you guys bought 2 of them, and now you get to fight over who gets the other 2. Like, there's still going to be a little bit of a line, and it's just the way it is. That's for anything.
Yeah, it's if it's an event to go to, I mean, if they're wanting to go to it, they'll wait. So.
Yeah, I know there's a few. There was a question I think you guys talk about. We talked earlier before the show. Speaking of events going on, there's a lot of Pokemon Go fans. Are you going to have something like that going on?
You guys, Dave and Steve threw down the gauntlet with you guys, and I honestly thought that there was some kind of beef.
Personal
issues.
I don't play Pokemon Go, but there is some Pokemon Go players on this crew here.
I read this tweet. It says, "Well, this is awkward," and I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe it's because they're podcasters and you guys are podcasters, and maybe there's a breach in contract or something. But then it was because of the Pokemon. The Crusoe Club is an actual Pokemon gym. I don't know who runs it which team runs it right now, but
is that blowing your mind, Zube?
Mind blown. Extra people right there.
I'll give you one guess who one of the players is on our crew.
That one is Myles.
What colors are there for the Pokemon? I don't play Pokemon.
Red, blue, and yellow.
So there's red, blue, and yellow. I just wanted to bring it up. Downstairs in the charity alley, we're setting up tables, 3 tables, the red, blue, and yellow table, and we're challenging everyone to bring canned food for the Cambrian Food Bank. And the team color that gets the most cans on their table will do a draw separate for a prize to win from the people. So if you're for team yellow and you bring the can, you get a ticket into a draw. You bring 2 cans, you get 2 tickets. So the more you bring, the more tickets you get.
Wow, so big shout out to the Pokemon Go players if you want to contribute and make your team the best. What are the teams?
Instinct, Valor, and Mystic.
Instinct, Valor, and Mystic. We challenge you to bring canned goods for this event and show that your Pokemon team is the best.
Thanks, Myles, for that fact check. Appreciate it.
Did you know the answer?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
So
I asked the right person then, didn't I?
I'm a total noob.
Just to be clear there, Myles, what team are you?
Instinct. That's what the beef was on Twitter.
Oh.
Because they're the other.
They're not
Twitter
Instinct.
beef.
So.
They're not Team Valor, they're the other one.
Yeah, so we'll have it set up with the 3 tables with the 3 names. You bring a canned food item, you get a ticket. Bring in 5 cans, you get 5 tickets, and at the end of the day, the table that has the most will be entered into a draw for a prize only from the Pokemon team with the most cans.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, if I interrupt for a second, Jay, we have a Facebook question.
Oh, right.
His name is Corey Gibson. Give him his
Do it.
props there. This question was kind of answered before, but just give us a brief bullet point here, guys. Ask how this year's event will be better compared to last year's, besides having a bigger location. So just a brief rundown, guys.
Twice as much stuff as than last year. A lot more prizes and a lot more stuff going on throughout the day. We're going to have a Nintendo Mario Kart 64 tournament going on.
Now that's new from last year?
Yeah, that's new from
last year we had a tournament fall through. It didn't unfortunately work out, but last year we had some people doing some tabletop demos for some board games, but the tournament actually didn't take off. So this year it's gonna happen.
Another thing too is we have if you're into that, like our main theme is retro gaming. If you're into collecting, there's going to be a couple of vendors with heavy hitters. Last year we weren't able to get the vendors to come from down south, but after a successful first year...
We got some, but...
but the heavy... Yeah, after a successful first year, our one of our vendors last year convinced the other vendors to come. It was make it worth the trip, because a lot of vendors didn't want to travel 4 or 5 hours.
Which makes sense. I mean, they're worried they might not make money.
The first show, you're not sure, right? But once you heard it was successful, then it's worth the trip to come up.
Yeah. So a little bit more about this Mario Kart tournament, because I'm a bit of a Mario Kart fan.
He's the guy, he's throwing it.
What Mario Kart is it covering?
60, I think 64, isn't
really, it? Really, eh? Is that it, or is there other versions that you're going to be including in this tournament?
Just the 64 version. What we're going to do is there's going to be 64 participants, 4 TVs.
It's like March Madness format.
Yeah,
I may have to get involved in that.
Someone that understands my format.
I'm going to lose, though. I know, because I know there's better players than me.
So what we're going to do is we're going to set it up where at 2 p.m., the first 16 people that entered are going to face off on 4 TVs. Okay. The winner of each advances to the semifinals. So then at 2:15, the next 16 are going to go, and so forth. So 16 square off. If you win, you advance to the semifinals. So after 64, we're going to have 16 people left. And at 3:15, those, or 3 o'clock to 3:15, those finalists from the 16 are going to face off, and there's going to be 4 winners, and they're going to play on the final screen.
That's awesome.
And the winner of that wins the grand prize. Second also gets a prize package, and so does third.
Great.
Fourth, you don't win anything, but
Can we tease the prizes at all, or do you know what I mean?
yeah, for sure. It's going to be a Nintendo 64 package with Mario Kart and a few other games.
And 2
Awesome.
controllers.
I am joining that.
The games, we're not sure what other games we're going to throw in there yet, but there'll be a couple of good games.
Nice.
Probably wet tricks.
Yeah. Oh, and the N64, it's going to be in a box with no manuals or anything, but it's going to have the original box with it. So.
So if you're a
Nice.
collector, that's
Yeah.
something
That's very
worth
awesome.
having too.
Okay, so you mentioned the heavy hitters a couple times before. Kind of layman's there when it comes to heavy hitters, that term.
Mm-hmm.
Just for some of our audiences, can you explain what heavy hitters is?
It's a rare game that's worth a lot.
Lots
So-
of money.
An example is Little Samson on Nintendo.
Okay.
It goes anywhere from 1,000 to 1,400 last I checked.
And were those games like was it a very popular game back in the day?
Well,
or
the
was it
thing
just
is,
very-
the thing is, a lot of heavy hitters for Nintendo, they're fun to play games that are rare. There
Yeah.
are some games that are out there that are really crap that people collect just for collecting.
Yeah.
But the ones that are really fun that are harder to get are more in demand, obviously,
Okay.
and people go crazy over them. Little Samson, the
Flintstones,
Flintstones,
Jetsons, Bucky O'Hare.
Panic Restaurant,
Yeah.
stuff like that. I'm a Super Nintendo collector, so like for me, like Wild Guns.
Oh yeah, Chrono
Agrani,
Trigger's great.
Mario Paint? No, I'm joking.
Mario RPG. Well, it's not really a heavy hitter.
Yeah, it's not really a heavy hitter, but if you find one in the box with the manual in mint condition, the collector wants that, right? Like,
Okay, can you guys tell me, please, is there going to be like a duck hunt game there? Like a duck
Like for
hunt?
someone selling.
Yeah, someone's
Are
selling it.
you begging them?
I can hook you
or
up
just like a
after
tournament.
this
It can pop to a
Duck
tournament.
hunt tournaments.
Now
The winner gets to shoot the dog.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty confident that almost any vendor that'll be there will have duck hunt. So
well,
You can buy it and play it at home.
One of the guys that
Very
helped us organize it last year, Trevor, he was actually going to make like a wall on his thing from all the duck hunt games he had.
Oh,
Because
okay.
it seems like every lot you pick up, it has a Mario Duck Hunt in it. Right?
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just the game that came with the
Came
system.
with the system for
That's
sure.
right.
So
Yeah.
if you buy lots often enough, you're gonna have a lot of Mario Duck Hunt games.
Yeah. My other go-to game is Blades of Steel.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
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 Oh.
I'll challenge you to that
Yeah,
after. We
okay.
should-
I actually have it on my. That could be made possible.
Yeah.
Actually,
On your NES system that you have in the
exactly.
What we're gonna do is the tournament, the Mario Kart tournaments happen 2 to 3:30.
Okay.
So we're gonna leave it set up. We're probably gonna set up around 1, so you can go. People that are in it can go practice.
Yeah.
And then after 3:30, we're just gonna set up a couple retro arcade systems, and people can go play. We're gonna put a couple of cheap games with it. So Blades of Steel would be one of them.
Awesome.
So you can go after and just play Blades of Steel just for fun, right?
Yeah.
But we might. I don't know what else we'll hook up. Maybe Super Nintendo with.
maybe a GameCube with Double Dash.
Yeah,
or
something like that. We'll make sure that after the tournament, people can just go relax, get some food
Yeah.
while they wait to see if they won from the penny draw.
Yeah. You had me at spaghetti. So.
All right. So speaking
Well,
of
wouldn't that
retro
be
games,
sad if they shattered your dreams and they just served garlic bread or something.
Oh.
$5 garlic bread.
Wow.
No, the Crucible
best
Club has
food ever.
excellent food, so
Yeah, they do have
it
really
won't
good
disappoint.
food.
I assure you
Yeah.
that.
so speaking of great retro games, what's the first one you guys played that you remember?
That I remember was probably. I mean, everyone says Mario, like Mario Brothers 1, but the one that stands out for me the most, and it's probably the weakest of all the Mario games, was Mario 2 on Nintendo.
Oh yeah, it is the original 3, anyways, for sure. But that's the first game you think that you played?
Yeah, it was.
Oh.
It was Mario 1, Mario 2 was when I got my Nintendo. Those were the two games that I got. Like, obviously Mario 2 didn't come with it, but I had
Yeah.
the Mario set. So
My first, I don't really remember the first game I played, to be honest, but I remember playing that hockey game where you go to center and flip the puck, and it would always go in over the goalie.
On the Super Nintendo?
Yeah, on the
that's
Super
Stanley
Nintendo.
Cup.
Is it
NHL Stanley Cup.
Okay.
Yeah.
The screen turns
Was it-
down.
is it-
Yes,
Is
it's
the
got
ice
that.
blue?
Yeah.
See, ice
Yes,
blue?
it's blue.
Yeah.
Yes.
And but
You can't
one
make any trades on it either.
The one that I have the most memories of, it's funny you brought it up earlier, was Blades of Steel.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
my dad, the only system he plays is the Nintendo.
Yeah.
And there's 2 games he plays, Contra and Blades
Nice.
of Steel.
So yeah, that's a good
So
one,
like
too.
I remember playing those 2, but I just remember like playing with my dad Blades of Steel, and we'd have games where it would be like literally 1-0, and then some games it would be 9-8. It's just one of those games that if you're locked in defensively, you can have a good. It's probably the most.
So would you
nostalgic
consider
game.
that like the most influential game of your childhood? Or?
That and I remember
Madden.
switching over to PS.
Oh,
no,
man.
I remember switching over to PS1 and going in the store, and I wanted NHL '99, I think it was, and I ended up getting that game, but my mom convinced me to get Spiral just check it.
Yeah, but that's
And I
worth
really
money
didn't
now.
want to get it.
That's
but-
worth money now.
I really didn't want to get it, but she talked me into it, and then I just fell in love with the Spiral series up until PS2. I kind of got out of it, but I loved the first 3: Spyro the Dragon, Ripto's Rage, and Year the Dragon.
Oh yeah.
And just remember playing those a lot. And then another one that I played a lot with was NFL 2K3 for GameCube.
Yeah.
I played a lot. I just played that like every day. I just fell in love with it. It got me into football, basically. I'm more of the sports games. Like,
you do more sports
I'll
games.
admit it. Like I don't get them every year they come out now, but when I was a kid, I did. And looking back,
You're one of those guys.
It
You're like,
probably wasn't the wisest decision. Like, the values don't really tend to go up.
so what was the most influential game of your childhood, do you think?
Probably, I'd have to say Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII, like I liked all the other stuff on, like I liked Final Fantasy VI, I liked Final Fantasy 4 or 2, whichever way you go, because there's always an argument. No, 6 is 3, and okay, whatever.
Yeah, because they're named differently in Japan.
Yeah, but I mean, for me, it was 7, just because at the time, I mean, yeah, people said, oh, it's all pixels and whatnot, but for me, it just a jump from.
It was a
Nintendo,
huge jump.
Like, I don't even know what happened, but Sony won clearly when they got Square, and maybe not so much now because Square Enix is putting out really crappy stuff. But when Final Fantasy made the jump from Super Nintendo to PlayStation, that's when I think it shifted. Nintendo is still a popular system, but I'm going to go on and say that Final Fantasy VII is the reason that PlayStation became what it is.
I would totally agree with that. I think I couldn't find the exact. I was actually looking these facts up, which is so funny because we were going to do a little trivia for you guys later. At one time, Super Mario Bros. 3 did hold the record for best-selling console game of all time, and then I'm pretty sure it was Final Fantasy VII that did beat that record after when it came out on the PlayStation. It was originally intended to come out on the N64 or whatever they were calling the N64 before it came out.
I thought it was just Final Fantasy 64, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, but either way, it didn't pan out, and that they decided to go with Sony instead, or at least that's what I recall. All the news from in the magazines back in the day. Speaking of like that, like reading magazines back in the day, you ever do that? Like, is that like a thing? Like, because now it's so easy to get video games.
I used to get Nintendo Power.
Yeah.
and then.
Because you didn't have the internet back then to
No.
look up codes
what I
or.
would do is you'd get those things from school, like those I don't know what it was.
Scholastic book orders.
Scholastic book
Yeah.
orders, and I didn't read nothing. Like I just didn't. It didn't interest me. But I would always want to get those books with all the codes in it, and that's what.
If you had those or a Game Genie, you were like, you're not a god, but everyone was like, oh no, you've got all the codes. Help me out with. I need the password for Mega Man 3. I can't remember how to get past Dr.
There
Wily.
was always that one kid. He was like, "Oh, he could beat anything, man." Like, ask him.
Yeah.
Or like I would play like Mario World and Donkey Kong, and my mom knew every little secret in them. She played them a lot when I was younger. So
you had
when
the
I
whole
played
family.
them when I played them when I was 5, 6 years old, 7 years old, I'd play them with her, and she would know all the secrets and everything. So.
Yeah, I think my first game was either Donkey Kong or Pac-Man, and then I think the most influential for me is Super Mario Brothers. Like, I could play. I love the Mario Brothers games. Mm-hmm. What about you guys?
Dave?
I think anyone here in the room knows I'm not much of a retro gamer. I never was. Actually, I think while everyone was on their consoles back in the day, I was still on PC. So for me, the farthest back I can go, though, I can honestly say I think I played the Atari systems. I just don't know if it was my first machine. I can honestly say, though, as a family from someone from my family, I mean, I felt like the Nintendo was the first machine that was kind of landed in our lap. So that for me, that would be my first machine. But the Atari is, I think, the oldest thing I think I've ever touched. So I'd have to say maybe Donkey Kong, I think, is the biggest classical game I've ever played on a console.
Yeah, my memories of video games, I got started actually on the Commodore 64 before video games came out. And then for Christmas one year, I got Nintendo, like the regular NES, and I got Mario and Duck Hunt. I didn't ask for anything else. And then eventually I think my dad got me Blades of Steel, and basically that's my wheelhouse right there, those 3 games.
Oh, good times.
And then I upgraded to Sega Genesis and 32X.
Oh, the 32X!
I was this close to getting the
almost the Sega CD. You almost did it.
Almost, but
I had a
that
buddy who was
fizzled,
a big Sega fan.
Yeah, that blinked. I blinked and I was gone. That Sega CD, like that fad was out.
It was pretty fast. Yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah. But 32X, I thought that was actually the closest thing to a next generation system. There'll be a next generation system, because I don't know if you guys remember Mortal Kombat 2 at the arcade.
Yes.
Yeah, like that was like my go-to game, and we put in 32X for the game, the console.
It was like arcade.
It was just like the arcade.
Really?
It felt just like
That's
the arcade.
cool.
It was like that close.
Yeah, because back then, because you translate it to like Super Nintendo or Genesis, it's not quite the same.
Well, yeah, and especially the whole Mortal Kombat thing. I always laughed with the NES. No blood.
Yeah, that's right.
Like
Nintendo made it so there was no blood
but
on it.
you had to do that on Sega too, but you just had to put the code in to unlock it.
Yeah, but at least they gave you a code.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah. Classic code.
All right, so we've been having a great time here talking about classic video games. Once again, tell the folks where to go for the Northern Game Expo, how much it costs, and all the deets, please.
Sunday, October 16th at the Crusoe Club from 12 to 6. And it's $5 to get in. Kids 10 and under, provided they're with an adult, is free.
Okay.
All right, that sounds great.
And you guys have a website too?
NorthernGameExpo.com. We're on Facebook, Northern Game Expo, the events page. We're trying to get it up to 300 people going. As soon as we hit that number, we're going to be raffling off 2 VIP tickets. So
And we're close. I think we're at 265.
Nice.
Last I checked, so we're almost there.
We've got over I think 1,200 people invited, so it's just a matter of turn on your notifications.
And we also have another contest going on right now. If you go on our Facebook page and you like and share the event and invite 10 of your friends to the page, you'll be entered to win a pair of tickets. And that contest goes till Sunday at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, yes. I
And
thought it was Friday. I don't know what I'm thinking.
I'll shoot a video on it so people will be aware of it today on Facebook.
Perfect.
Tomorrow being, well, it might be too late by the time the fans here. Well, this will be posted tomorrow. What time is it done?
It's done at 7 p.m. tomorrow.
Once we're done at the Barry show,
but we're going to be doing contests. Yeah. Like we're coming up on 3 weeks away, so we're going to be doing contests every week. So make sure to tune in on 105.3 Q92 Eastlink. We'll be doing prizes on the radio for sure. And then if you go around town, there'll be prizes at Comics North. He'll be raffling off a pair of tickets. We don't know how, but you can inquire there.
If you're listening from Sault Ste. Marie at Vintage Games and Junk, they've got some VIP tickets. Power Up Gaming in Barrie has some tickets. So it's just a matter of whatever they're doing for their contest. I think the one in Sault Ste. Marie is if you spend $25 or more, you get entered.
And another thing I wanted to bring up is the day of this show, we're going to have a survey set up, and we're going to be raffling off a prize just to fill up a quick survey that'll take about a minute, and you can win a cool prize.
Very cool.
So if you heard about the Northern Game Expo here on We Promise Nothing, you can let these guys know when you fill out that survey. So give us a big shout out because we would really appreciate that.
Yeah, and please go to the Northern Game Expo. It's going to be a fun event. It seems like you can spend the whole 6 hours there and not get bored.
Yeah, it literally does sound like that.
Well, last year we had people that bought so much stuff they had to make two trips.
Yeah.
And we do have stamps that we put on your hands so that it's proof of purchase.
So you can come in and go as long as you got that stamp in your hand.
Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect, guys. All right, stay tuned. We're going to test these guys' video game knowledge with a few little questions, a little quiz that we put on here. So stay tuned for that.
Are you with whistling the Mario theme song?
Yeah, I am. I love that game.
Oh god, me too. I wish I still had it.
Well, you should really go to this thing. It's called Northern Game Expo.
Okay, when is this?
It's October 16th, 12 to 6, $5 admission.
Oh yeah, well, what would I find there?
Well, there's lots of vendors coming from down south, so you'd be able to get a game like Super Mario Brothers or Mario 3 or maybe some other vintage games that you've been having a hard time finding for maybe even cheap.
Oh, you're kidding. I have all these consoles and I have no more games to play with them.
Well, you can potentially find some here, possibly even some rare ones. Also, there's tournaments going on.
No.
Plus, there's draws and prizes.
Oh yeah? Like, is there any big charities going on?
There's
or?
big charity going on. If you're a big Pokemon Go player, if you bring a canned good, you can represent your team. It enters you into a draw. And many other contests as well, such as Mario Kart.
Ah, Mario Kart.
I also love Mario Kart. It's a great event. I can't wait to go to it. Once again, you got to check it out. Sunday, October 16th, 12 to 6. Go to www.northerngameexpo.com. You can get your tickets there. $5 and 10 and under, they get in for free.
Oh my god. I'll see you there for sure. I'm going to bring my brother.
It's a great family event.
Excellent, excellent.
See you there.
See ya.
Alright guys, so we're back and we're going to test Mike and Brad's knowledge of classic video games. I tried to whip up a few questions, just to have a little bit of fun with this, so it's just not like a straight up interview with you guys, and kind of put you guys in the hot seat just a little bit.
Better be on your A game.
Alright, so what classic video game did Mario of the Super Mario Brothers first appear in?
Donkey Kong.
You got it. So after appearing in original Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr., Mario would star in arcade game Mario Brothers and resulting Super Mario Brothers, becoming Nintendo's mascot in the process. And what kind of company was Nintendo before it was a video game company?
Wasn't it a card company?
You got it!
Wow. That was good.
These guys did not know that.
Stumped everyone.
I said microwave company.
So that company was founded in late 1889.
Yeah, they're like 127 years old or something like that.
They're based in Kyoto, Japan. And the business produced and marketed a playing card game called Hanafuda, I think.
Who are you calling a Hanafuda?
Speaking of Japan, what is Mega Man known as in Japan?
Rockman.
You got it.
Whoa.
Wow.
On fire.
And other names they considered were Mighty Kid, Knuckle Kid, and Rainbow Battle Kid.
I prefer the last one. Wait, you don't agree?
Alright, what classic best-selling Nintendo video game made its debut on the big screen in the 1989 movie The Wizard?
Can you repeat the question, please?
What classic best-selling Nintendo video game made its debut on the big screen in the 1989 movie The Wizard?
I just remember the Power Glove. That's all I remember from this movie.
The power, it's so bad.
I don't remember the game. I just remember the Power Glove because I thought it was the coolest thing in the world and I wanted one. And now Glover? No, it's not Glover. It's an
It was the
actual-
big game that they revealed at the end, and it just blew everyone's mind at that time.
I was born in 91, so probably
yeah.
agree.
Was it Super Mario 3?
Ooh. It is Super Mario Brothers 3.
That was 89. I thought that was 91. Okay.
That's when the movie came out, so I'm not sure if the game came out like a year later or... Alright, what classic Japanese video game company released classics such as Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Metal Gear, Castlevania, and Contra?
Konami.
You got it. Also,
I knew that.
Blades of Steel.
Yeah.
You guys are talking about.
Konami made that?
Yep.
Oh, didn't know that.
Konami and Hudson Soft are my two favorite.
I was going to ask you the Final Fantasy VII question, but you guys clearly already know that one. This is one brought to you by Boo, so I don't know if you're going to be able to answer this one. I couldn't answer this one. I don't know how retro this question is. Who is Spartan 117 or 117? I don't know. And what game does he appear in?
Halo.
You got it. I gave it away.
Who is he?
Isn't that Master Chief? Yeah.
There you go.
I don't really follow Xbox, but I mean, that's...
That wasn't retro question, by the way. I did. That was one of the questions I felt I could ask.
Oh, okay. I didn't feel like it was...
I don't know. Can we call Master Chief retro? He's...
Well, if is that a part of the Xbox? Was he a part of the original Xbox?
Xbox, original
He was.
Xbox, which should have been called Xbox One, not what it is now. But
Yeah. That's just
Yeah.
confusing. What classic Atari game was considered such a huge disappointment that all additional copies were
E.T.
buried?
E.T.
You got it. It's like you guys knew the answer before I asked
Because
it.
he had a copy, and then when they made that documentary about it, he's like, "Do you think it's worth anything?" And he went and looked, and it
dug up like
decreased
three-
in value.
Yeah.
But it was never worth anything. That's why.
Yeah, so all those additional
wasn't worth-
copies
it was
were
what,
buried
worth
in
like
New
11
Mexico, and it was considered a contributing factor in the video game industry crash in 1983. All right, and this is an easy one. Who do you play as in the Legend of Zelda series?
Why are you asking me? You should
Link?
know that.
Link, there you go, easy one. Did you guys have any other ones? Because I didn't get enough time to bring up any more for these guys.
No, those are good questions.
Yeah, so the only thing I think we almost stumped you on was the wizard one, right?
Yeah.
And you guys ended up getting that one too. So, did you guys have any skill testing questions for us?
I don't.
Don't throw some heat back this way.
I'm trying to think.
Do you know what the most expensive licensed video game is of all time?
Most expensive license.
License? Is it the?
Want to give him a hint with the system?
Is it
It's
the
on Nintendo.
Yeah. Is it the game like the tournament one with all the multi games on it? What was it
What's the
called?
name?
Oh, what's it
Yeah,
called?
It
you're
starts
close.
with an S.
Are you talking about Smash Brothers?
It's
No.
kind of like
Wow.
the. It's kind of like the
It
Olympics.
It was so.
Super Nintendo. It was Nintendo Championship.
No,
something.
that was the after this one failed, they remade it.
Okay. I'm not sure the name, but
Stadium
Stadium
events.
events.
Stadium events. Okay, so is it? And it's got like Mario Brothers.
No,
on it,
no,
or
it's
all
just
on
it was called Family Fun, I think.
Oh, okay.
And actually I don't know how much he sold it for, but the guy Ryan Janot was able to pay off his mortgage by selling this game. So
Wow.
I know that one of the vendors down south has a complete in box, and he had it listed for himself at a show. I think he had it listed at $30,000.
I have a question for you, actually.
So it's very expensive.
I have a question.
Sure.
The Dell exclusive Xbox, original Xbox, it was Crystal Blue. What game came with it in the package? It came with the headset.
You
and
should
one-
know
I would
this.
say Halo, but
Which Halo?
the first one.
It was Halo 2.
Oh!
I didn't want to say anything to be honest.
And you know what the
but
funny
that was
thing
that
is?
was a limited
This
edition.
guy-
You should have been
This
saying
guy,
repping for us.
found two Dell Xboxes within a week of each other.
And apparently, people say it's rarer than the Mountain Dew Xbox. And the Mountain Dew Xbox, I know there was 5,000 made. And I haven't found out the exact number of the blue Xboxes, but I came across two. It was limited to Canada, but I came across two within like a week. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, I know vaguely of the machine. I know that it is a rare one to find, and I think the biggest problem of all was that they broke down more often than not, and people didn't see the value of them because they felt it was just another one of those other Xbox originals, right?
Yeah.
Over the years, they became even rarer, which is why people have been highly looking for them. So you're right. Yeah, that is a hard one to find.
All right, Miles, I think you said that you had another little quiz for these guys, in which is you're going to ask them how much those games go for on eBay that we were talking about earlier.
We could make a game out of it. So you mentioned a few games there. Heavy hitters, I guess, is the familiar
Heavy
term.
hitter, white whale, whatever you want to call
Nice.
them.
Yeah. Moby Dick.
Big money.
So Little Samson was the first one you mentioned. You said that was a heavy hitter at your.
Well, it's coming. Well, it was at Barrie show. I don't know if it's coming to ours, but I'm gonna say probably between 25 and 3,000 just for the cartridge.
I would say between 14 and 1,600. If it was complete with the box and manual, I'd say 4,000 to 4,500.
Brand new or pre-owned?
Oh, brand new.
Brand new is probably about 6.
You know, brand new is probably
Sealed.
impossible to find, to be honest. Just the cartridge alone was about 14 to 15 to 1,600. 14 to 1,600. Complete in box, 4,000. If it was brand new, it would be probably like 12,000, 15,000.
So I have American prices here.
Okay.
This is eBay.com. Somebody is selling it for $30,000 brand new mint condition
Jeez.
in the
Yeah.
box. Pre-owned, you can get it for as cheap as $800.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
800 American, you do the conversion, it's probably around 1,050, 1,100.
I'd say so. Well,
And it depends on the condition of the cartridge too. Like if there's a couple little nicks up in the label, it's going to knock the value off. But if you had a mint copy,
collectors look for
14, like a collector that's going to spend that much money wants it in mint condition. So if he's going to spend $1,000 on the game, he'd rather spend the $1,200, get a mint copy of it, right?
Yeah.
And that brand new one, it takes a special type of buyer that's going to drop $30,000 on the game.
Yep.
And we also had Bucky O'Hare that was mentioned. What do you think that one went for?
I'd say around 6.
I'd say
600?
7.
Yeah, pretty much dead on. We got 574 here.
Yeah,
So that's
it's all 7s, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's American price.
And Spyro the Dragon for PS1.
If it's the Black Label one, I'm guessing $25 to $30. And if I had Spyro the Dragon at a show, I'd sell it for $20. So there's a deal, because I'm guessing it's going to be around $30.
Well, Black Label $90.
Really?
Yeah, regular
Sealed or-
version is sealed.
Yeah.
Regular version is $15 to $30.
Yeah. So like you won't come up, like, not too often you're going to go to the place and find sealed games, because most of them got open, right?
And they're harder to sell now too.
Yeah.
Collectors don't want sealed stuff.
It's
Or
hard to
most
sell. Like
collectors.
the older stuff, though, it's not as hard to sell, like the Nintendo sealed stuff. But a $30,000 game, obviously. But if you have like a Mario 3 sealed, you'll have a lot more people interested in it, because they're only going to spend a couple hundred compared to 30,000.
Yeah.
And just some fact checks, I guess, to clean things up.
Yeah,
a
sure.
little
Clean things up for us.
bit. Final Fantasy VI, you mentioned earlier, was released in '94 for Super Nintendo, but it was released in North America as Final Fantasy III.
Yeah.
And you kind of knew that already, but that was just, it's confirmed now.
Cool.
The Sega 32X, that was also mentioned.
Yep.
That was introduced in 1994. It sold 665,000 units, and then it was disbanded in 1996. So it had a 2-year run. And if you think about it in console time, that's a pretty good run. Like,
Well,
it
it's
was
just an
a lot
add-on
refreshing.
piece to the Genesis.
Yeah, it's just an add-on piece, so you still have the Sega. They just stopped that one little part. Super Mario 3 was released October 23rd, 1988,
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
which coincided perfectly for the Wizard film, because that was released December 15th, 1989. So just a year later. So it was... and Stadium Events, I think, was one of the games that you brought up, was the most heavily licensed game. That was released in North America September 1987. And then
Does it say how many copies were? Do you know how many copies was there? Stadium Events?
No, I just remember it was re-released as something else.
Yeah,
And you
I think
you
it's
can,
around 1,000 copies.
You can get a copy in England for next to nothing, because it's called Stadium Events there, but it's not the
Yeah.
actual rare one.
And I think like Super Famicom and stuff like that, you can get a lot of games like overseas that play on your Super Famicom system, and they're not as expensive as rare over there, because there's more, the population over in those countries are a lot, right? So a lot of people that just want to play these consoles and these games order from over there on eBay and stuff like that.
It's still considered a white whale game because it just sold for $35,100 last year alone.
Yeah.
That was just one buyer.
And one of the vendors then, Barry, actually had one complete in box.
He's coming to our show.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he sold this for, but it was on display. It looked pretty neat. Like if you're a collector, you know that Stadium Events.
You just want your picture taken with it, just to say you held it.
You could probably charge. You could probably charge at the show $2 to get your picture taken with it. Like me, like going and seeing the Stanley Cup in person, taking your picture.
Yeah.
It's for a gamer. It's,
That's funny.
you want to go hold the
Stanley Cup
trophy.
of video
right?
games.
Hold it over your head.
You just made him
And
Take a selfie with
and
it.
drop
You just made him a whole whack load of profit there.
Touch it with past the fingers.
I never thought
He's
of
gonna
that.
listen to this and he's gonna like get an idea now. All right, so it has been great talking to you guys, and I can't wait to go to this show. And all of you out there listening, and We Promise Nothing Land and YouTube, you should be going to this show too if you're in the Sudbury area. It's at the Caruso Club, and all the details that we said. October
16th.
October 16th. There you go, 12 to 6. There's gonna be a lot going on. Yeah, so I'm excited.
Bring lots of cash.
Bring lots of cash
Lots of cash. Or bring your trade stuff.
or trade stuff.
Just want to thank you guys for having us.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming on to the show. It's not very often we get guests, and I think this is only the second time we've had guests on the show. Talk Nerdy being our first guest, so we were super pumped to get you on the show, and glad you guys could do this.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mike and Brad. All right, and for the We Promise Nothing crew, this is Jpar signing out.
Myles leaving the building.
Eric saying bye-bye.
Da Boo going bye-bye.
And if you disagree with anything you heard on the show, remember, you can leave a comment below. But as always, we promise nothing. Good night.